Good morning, my fellow Liberians. Good afternoon, good evening, my fellow Liberians at home and abroad. You're welcome to another edition of Liberia Rising with Sam-Abel Gbinsay. Trust me, we're going to have a wonderful time with this lesson, this moment. Woodrow Wilson once said, former US President Woodrow Wilson, you are not here merely to make a living. You are here in order to enable the world to live more ably, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world, and you impoverish yourself if you forget the error. That's what Woodrow Wilson once said. Today, I'd like to talk about understanding generational purpose in leadership. Understanding generational purpose is so important. As a leader, you need to understand your purpose generationally. You see, purpose must be understood generationally in order to be achieved. If a purpose as a leader must be achieved, it has to be understood generationally. That means every purpose is time limited because every leadership is time limited as well. Because you see, times and situations change, but you must have the ability to adapt and not to change. If you can't adapt, you die. Not only physically, but you die purpose wise. There are some people in leadership, they already dead purpose wise. Their purpose is dead. That's why they don't make no impact. Their being there is like they don't exist. They're not in control. They are not in charge. Because you see, it is adaptation that aligns you with the generational purpose of the timing and the season. Adaptation aligns you with the generational purpose of the time and the seasons. If your leadership must be great and successful, you must understand it from a generational perspective. It's very important. We need to understand leadership from a generational perspective in order to make it great and successful. Because you see, that is what defines your personality and uniqueness as your leader. Understanding your leadership from the generational perspective, you know what it does? When you understand your leadership from a generational perspective, it defines your personality and your uniqueness as a great leader. You are not trying to do what everyone else is doing. No, you're not just trying to be everybody. You are living out a purpose that is trapped within generational confines. Not trying to be everybody, not trying to do the same thing everybody's doing. Now, you're a pastor, you're a bishop, you're a church leader, you're a church planter. Be yourself. You're a teacher, be yourself. You're a leader, you're a president, you're a vice president, you're a minister, be yourself. Because your purpose is trapped within generational confines. There are two biblical characters who understood their generational purpose, David and Solomon. Of course, father and son. But these guys intimidate me, man. They scare me. Powerful. They understood their generational purpose. I'm going to talk about David first in 1 Samuel 31 to 8. I will summarize by reading verse 7. David now is like a renegade, you call a rebel leader, with a group of 600 men running away from Saul. He's got no place to hide, and he goes and make alliances or alliance with the Philistines. Friendship by mutual consent. And where he have to go and line himself with the enemies just to survive. So that life brings you to that place. Where yeah, friendship by mutual consent and enemy by mutual consent. If even though I'm being your enemy, but if Saul is your enemy and I'm fighting Saul, then Saul is both of us enemy. But that's not the play I want to deal with anyway. So David, he's staying in the Philistines village called Ziklag. He goes on a raid and he comes back, and the little village is overthrown, is destroyed. Everything, including his 2 wives and children, along with the 600 men and their wives and their children and everything. And they all lift up their voices and begin to cry. When David decides to cry, I'm talking about 1 Samuel 31 to 8. They took a stone to kill David. That's what makes you a great leader. The tears everybody's sharing, you can share. Everybody is complaining, you can complain. Everybody is broken down. You can act broken down because you got to inspire hope. You got to encourage people. You got to drive the vision and the purpose. Even if you feel hurt and wounded, people don't understand that you are a leader. Everybody complain, you complain. Somebody say one, you say two. Somebody send you a curse word, you throw that back. You're not a leader. They took a stone to stone David. They saw him as their problem. That's why everything rises and falls in leadership. But see what happened. The verse. So when David saw that they wanted to stone him, in verse 7, he said, then he said to Abiathar the priest, bring me the ephod. So Abiathar brought it. Now the ephod was a priestly garment that the priest would wear to inquire of God's direction. Every time they went before God, whether in prayer, whether it was a matter of national emergency or whatever, a personal family, they wore the ephod. Only the priest was allowed to wear that ephod. So now they are at a crisis point. His life is threatened because the family is taken, including his own family. Everyone's family is taken. And when they took a stone to stone him, David said to Abiathar the priest, bring me the ephod. I don't know why you have it, but for me, I need it. But now, why would a man of war ask for an ephod, a priestly garment? I thought he's supposed to be asking for a sword. It was a purpose that determined his strategy. A purpose. A purpose that determined his strategy. When you go back, when David wore the ephod, what did he do? What did David do when he wore the ephod? In 2 Samuel 6 verse 14, it says, and David danced before the Lord with all his might, wearing a priestly garment, that is same ephod. David has been a man of praise and worship. Remember when Saul had this evil spirit come upon him, David would play the harp and sing praises and worship or whatever, and then that evil spirit would leave. So David's success, David knew that all the battle he fought, his success came from praise and worshiping God. So he didn't depend on his might, on his connection, or his military generals. He first asked for his ephod. His purpose determined the strategy. His strategy identified his weapon, and the weapon gave him the success. You can say your weapon is your resources. You don't go as a leader, you just don't jump around looking for resources. It is your purpose that attracts your resources. He asked for a priestly garment. And guess what happened? When David, then in verse 8 of 1 Samuel 30, God said, go after them, you'll recover all. You'll recover all because of purpose. And David did recover all. But see what happened. There's something very important here that I also want to share. Very, very important. Your leadership success and greatness depend on the discovery and alignment with your generational purpose. Your leadership success and greatness depend on your discovery and alignment with your generational purpose. It's very important. In generational purpose, the success of those who come after you is greatly dependent on how well you succeed now. Those who come after you. In 2 Kings chapter 1 Kings chapter 2 verse 10. Then David died and was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. Verse 11. David had reigned over Israel for 40 years, 7 of them in Hebron and 33 in Jerusalem. Solomon became king and sat on the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was firmly established. Beloved, Solomon succeeded because David succeeded. David was a man of war. He was not a man to go drinking margaritas and martinis. He was not a king who would go for breakfast at Palm Spring Casino, lunch at RLJ, and dinner at Boulevard Palace. No, he understood his purpose. That's why they said in 2 Samuel 11, in those days when kings were at war, the moment he tried to forsake his purpose, he messed up. But when he followed his purpose, there was sufficient grace to endure. The time of taking cruise and going on safari or whatever you can call it, y'all know it, y'all the boat people. The time is coming. The time is coming. It's time for war. How many of our leaders know that this generation is a generation of war? war against corruption, war against social injustice, war against underdevelopment, war against the bad governance, war against incompetence, nepotism, tribalism, war against marginalization. How many of us know it's not time for safari and holidays? And the next guy, Solomon. Solomon was a man of wisdom, but see what happened in 1 Kings 3:23. Then the king said, let's get the facts straight. Let's get the facts straight. Both of you claim the living child is yours, and he said that the dead one belongs to the other. All right, bring me the sword. So a sword was brought to the king. There's a story where the two prostitutes, they're in the same room, they sleep in the same place. One of them slept with a baby. Whatever the situation, the baby dies. And they wake up, the both of them claiming the live baby. The case comes to Solomon. And that's my baby, this my baby, this my baby. The dead baby is yours. No, the dead baby is yours. Nobody to testify. The king said, bring me a sword. A man of wisdom asked for a sword, Solomon. But a man of war asked for an ephod. The difference is purpose. Solomon, we have said, yeah, in those days when my father had a tough time, he wore ephod. I'm going to walk in ephod. I'm going to wear ephod in my leadership skill. He asked for a sword because of a leadership purpose. We're trying to duplicate, we're trying to copy other people when we don't know our leadership is trapped in a generational confine. Be yourself. Liberians, if we must succeed, if Liberia rising should be possible, every leader need to understand that generational purpose. I'm here for this purpose. God bless you. If this video has been a blessing to you, you can subscribe, like, or leave a comment. Look forward to seeing you again.